Today on This Old House,
Before the tile goes in, we'll make this bathroom waterproof with an all-in-one system.
we'll discover some smart solutions to make our project house more accessible.
Might narrow it down to this one here and that one there.
And we'll install the final glass slider and show you how this door is different than any other door in the house. That's it.
Hi there, I'm Kevin O'Connor and welcome back to This Old House and to our project here in Lexington, Massachusetts, where we're working on this beautiful 1960s mid-century modern home. And you can see how those mid-century modern details are coming together. The intersecting low sloping roofs right up there, so it gives us those nice angles. And then we just had a double glass sliding door go in that works right into the dining room. And then on the facade, well, the details continue to come together. So in the front yard, we've got two retaining walls. We've got an upper and a lower holding the front yard back. And the homeowners have chosen to veneer it in a granite stone. So that's real granite. It is sawn smooth on the back. And part of the reason it was chosen is because of these horizontal striations. It'll go on both retaining walls as well as the facade of the house's foundation right here. Check out that look. How beautiful is that? Then we've got bluestone. Then we've got the nickel gap siding and a painter who's working on the colors. Hey, Mauro.
Here we go. How are you?
I'm doing all right. What are you doing up there?
Well, as you can see, we have 4 different samples here. 2 shades of black for the panels here, 2 different colors, and 2 different colors for the vertical siding, which is going to be an off-white.
So 2 of each, meaning the homeowners have not chosen yet?
Not yet. Once they chose the one they like the best, Mauro's ready to go to work.
Mauro's getting to work. I love it, brother. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Kev.
Check out the big opening for the front door, so glass on either side. 4 plate glass windows that are sloped to match the slope of the roof and the big overhang that's being held up here by our steel column. And then over here we've got the garage, which is still very much a work in progress. But one thing of note is that the door openings, well, Charlie has framed these about 6 inches taller than normal. And that's so that they'll work with a wheelchair accessible van because the homeowner's middle son has a disability. And making the house accessible for him is pretty much driving the entire renovation. You may recall that Charlie has broken this project into phases. It's a lot of house and not a lot of time to finish it. So for example, in the back of the house, we've got the insulation in, the board up, and the plaster is already on. But you can literally see the progress as you move from back to front. So here in the middle, board is up, it's been taped, and right now the plasters are putting on the top coat. But as you come here to the front of the house and you look up, well, we've just got rough mechanicals and the ceiling has been strapped. But pretty soon, we're gonna get a lot of insulation in the ceiling, which is also the roof, and then board. Now, this house is getting a ton of insulation because we've got very strict energy codes. So we're getting it in the roof, the exterior walls, as well as the floor. And that's what Charlie and Richard are working on over in the kitchen.
So Charlie, you guys have been busy doing a lot of stuff here, mostly for that HERS rating, right? Home energy rating system. That takes into account the building's performance, you know, windows and doors and insulation, HVAC, and really the R value of the building. In the old days, in like 70s, right, that rating system was 140 what you were trying to get to. Then in 06, we get down to 100. Now here in Lexington, you have to get to 52. And so that, you know, you start looking for places where you can make the building tighter and raise the R value. So one thing that fought us was this existing wall. You can see it's brick on both sides, a little bit of insulation right there. So we lost a fair amount of R value here. The way you make it up with this HERS rating is to find it a place to make it up. And one place was in the floor. So this existing slab was concrete with a little bit of wood on the top, and that was R0. We've got to get to 20, R20.
Right, and to meet our HERS rating of 52, we had to remove the entire concrete slab. So when we did that, they gave us the opportunity to run all new ductwork. And if you remember, we dug trenches for all where our supplies had to go, right, running them back to the mechanical space.
Right. Now, there was no basement and no attic, so that was a great solution to hide the ductwork down there.
That's right, and once all the ductwork was in place, we encased it with closed cell foam.
Keep it tight.
And then we graded it, and once it was all graded, we even took another layer, about 2.5 inches of closed cell foam, and put it over the entire grate and wrapped it up the walls. And that's a really good starting point.
Okay,
for
so
us.
good insulation, and then?
And then we put a concrete slab over that.
How thick is that slab?
That's probably 4 or 5 inches thick.
Okay, great.
And now we're going to put our 2-inch sleepers, and then we're going to infill every single bay with 2 inches of foam.
Okay.
And then on top of that, we're going to put our subflooring, which is 3/4.
Great. Is that going to give us an R20?
Oh, we're going to be at least that.
All right, good. Well, let's get rolling. Let's finish it up.
I'm putting a bead of this spray foam polyurethane on top of our sleepers so our subflooring will bond to it. And a half, 42 and 47.
18. Hey, it fits. Next layer of the sandwich is our radiant floor heating system. Aluminum's on the back, and the tubing will serpentine through the room with a beautiful, comfortable heat.
That's right, and these are pieces of the white oak flooring that we're going to be using for our final layer.
That looks really smart, and you can see where you're nailing the floor in too, which is great and safe. All right, let's get these plumbers going, get that radiant so we're not holding anybody up.
Look, so they have one of everything here.
There are a lot of options.
Now it's time to order the interior doors, so we need hardware selection. And I've been coming here for years working with Chris. Chris, how are you?
Good to see you, Charlie.
This is Billy. I told you about him. He'd be coming in.
Hi, pleasure to meet you, Billy.
Nice to meet you.
What brings you in today?
We're looking for door hardware. Okay. We've got a project that I'm working with Charlie on. It's a mid-century modern home, and a big consideration for us is accessibility.
Okay, well, let's look at some of the interior options here. We've got knobs and levers. When you talk a little bit of accessibility, think about when you touch the knob, you actually have to have a grip on it. You have to turn and rotate your wrist in order to retract the latch. But with lever handles, you actually don't have to grip as heavily as you do on a knob. The lever allows you to just put downward force on it in order to retract that latch.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's all about using as little dexterity as possible to get the job done. And I think the lever is going to do that for us.
Oh, excellent. Well, it's great. Let's take a look at this display right here. If we take a look at these lever handles here, they come standard with a 60-degree rotation latch. And it takes a lot of rotation in order to retract that latch. But if you take a look at this one in the middle here, this is a 28-degree latch. This allows you to retract that latch with a very little range of motion.
I think the 28-degree rotation will be a lot easier for us for now and in the future.
Yeah, great. With the 28-degree latch is a great upgrade. Now, one other additional feature that I'd like to show you here is you can see these fasteners that are exposed on these bottom two displays here that come standard. The upgrade up here is a concealed fastener upgrade, which allows you to kind of remove those screws for that more modern and sleek look.
That looks really nice. I think it'll be great for the mid-century modern aspect of the house. Is there any question about, maintenance or being able to access that unit?
No, there's actually a little set screw right here that you can use to remove the lever handles if you need to do any maintenance or if you want to change different styles in the future.
Great.
Now, take a look at one more option here on the latch itself. This particular brand we might be looking at today actually has this little nylon insert in this latch, and this allows you to close the door a little bit more forcefully, but there's no metal on metal contact. So when you close the latch, the metal doesn't strike the strike plate. Deadens the sound a little bit nicer look and feel to it, as well as makes it last a little bit longer so you don't scrape up all your metal.
Definitely will make for a more livable situation. Keep the noise down with the kids.
I like it.
Let's take a look at the different options we have here. So with this particular brand, we can mix and match any style, any finish. We can even do a split finish or a split style if you'd like. So some people in a bathroom will do a polished chrome or a polished nickel, and on the outside might have a different finish. We can accommodate no problem.
Great. So one thing to keep in mind is a typical door is 1 3/8. We're going with an 1 3/4 in this case, and I just want to make sure that's not going to affect any of our decision here.
With this particular brand, it comes standard out of the box. It'll work with both a 1 3/8 inch thick door or a 1 3/4 inch door.
A lot to pick from. What do you think?
I think that some of them are automatic no's because of their style. Things like this, with a little bit of detail or even more, curved lines. I think we're looking definitely for more of a straight line, something very sleek looking. But I think if I was going to narrow it down again, sticking with a little bit more of a sleek option, something to match the aesthetic of the whole house, might narrow it down to this one here and that one there.
Well, one thing I noticed between both of these have a smaller rosette, and a rosette is this piece right here, which means it's a smaller bore in the slab of the door. Here's a typical size rosette here. And with this size, I can actually get the doors pre-bored from the factory. But when it's the smaller rosette, I can't. Not a big deal. It just comes down to ordering the doors. I will get them without a bore.
Okay, great.
So what about finishes?
I think we're going to go with this one in black.
Yeah, sure. We can accommodate that, no problem.
Well, I will get you a count on how many we need and get back to you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure, Charlie.
Nice to meet you.
You as well. Thank you.
Back to the site.
We're here in Caffrey's bathroom, where over the last months we've been adding the features we need to make an accessible bathroom that's fully functional. So Tommy and Kevin have added this blocking right here, and that'll be good for our grab bar that's going to be attached. But also in case in the future we add any additional grab bars, we'll know where the blocking is. Now the lavatory is going to be in a countertop right here that's going to have full access underneath, but also it'll be slightly lower than a normal sink. Now, in all cases, we need to make sure that this is a fully accessible bathroom, which means from the bedroom floor right through the bathroom floor and into the shower, it has to be flush, no threshold. And what Charlie did was actually to frame this lower so that we can add a shower tray, and the net it'll be perfectly flush, curbless. Now, most important is to make all of this waterproof, and that falls onto Mike O'Neill, our tile installer. So Mike, this is a tile system.
Yeah, it's an all-in-one waterproofed tile system.
All right, and I've done my share of bathroom models, and we always relied on the copper pan. You'd measure, and it would be a custom-made pan. It would take a week to get it.
Right.
The tile man would then mix up mud and pitch that mud, it was like cement, pitch it towards the drain, add the tile afterwards. But people didn't realize that the water could get down through the tile and the mud, and the waterproof piece was the pan.
That's right, and it would collect water.
Right.
And hopefully make it to the weep holes.
This is different though.
It is. This actually replaces a copper pan. It has a 1/4-inch pitch already built into the foam.
Yeah. And then this is the waterproof membrane right here on the top.
Correct. It's a different theory. There is no collection of water. Everything is waterproof topside.
Yeah. All the water will work its way towards the drain right here.
Correct. And then we have the wall board, which is also a lightweight foam.
So a lot different than cement board.
Oh, easy to carry.
Okay, so that goes like that.
It does. And then you have to flash it with this 5-inch band.
And that would be
Cemented down.
Yeah.
Correct. And they also make inside, outside pre-made corners to do the flashing up to the band in the actual corners of the pan.
So that'll all be buttered and cemented in. So once you do that, you're going to be watertight here, here, and up in all the walls. The only way the water can leave is through the drain right there.
Correct. You can actually take a shower in this when it's all waterproofed and done without any tile.
It's not that pretty though.
No, it's not. Not as pretty as tile.
All right, what's that?
This is an anti-fracture membrane for the bathroom floors.
Wait a minute, anti-fracture, what does that mean?
That means that this replaces the cement board. In this case, we have a lot of heat in different underlayment and subfloor, so there's going to be a lot of movement. And what this does, it allows for this to move underneath the tile so the tile does not crack.
It sounds so counterintuitive with the movement, but it actually acts like almost like a shock absorber between the floor.
It does. It does.
Cool. So how do you get started?
Let me show you how to work backwards from this point.
Okay.
Basically, this strapping piece represents the top point of our hardwood floor and our porcelain floor to flush out.
That's finished grade. Everything's going to be right at that point. So that's sort of 0 point.
Correct. We had to transfer this line over to where the tile is going to end, right here on the wall.
So you use a laser level to put it onto the wall, but then our subfloor is way down lower.
Correct, it is. So what we did in this case is we had to do a mud set and bring the floor up level to receive the pan. In this case, we did the mud because there is a radiant heat under the floor, and that's a great conductor.
Absolutely, but you actually could use wood too, right?
You could, yes.
Okay. The important thing is, though, that this surface has to be absolutely dead flat because your system already has the pitch built in.
It does.
Right.
And this piece here is going to have its mold here for it to receive the linear drain at the 3/4 height for the tile.
It's already part of the system, okay?
It is, and then it's going to pitch back. And this is that pan we talked about earlier with the pre-pitch already, and that will fit in perfectly.
Okay. So now that'll work perfectly that way. And I see you've got the underlayment already installed here. Is that a big deal to put that in?
That's easy. We just roll that out, cut it with a razor blade, and cement it down.
Yeah, perfect. All right. Well, I'm going to get out of your way and leave it to the pros. Let you finish it up.
Excellent.
All
Thank
right.
you.
We're attaching the waterproof wallboard to the studs with fasteners and screws. Using thin set base, they apply the 5-inch fabric band over all the seams and fasteners. There's a 2-inch section of PVC that connects the linear drain to the house's plumbing system. Next, they cut the sloped shower base to size. Now I really see the system. You got all the bands in, everything's tied together, outside corners, inside corners. It's one continuous watertight membrane. Now you're ready for the hard part, the tile, right?
Absolutely.
Great job. Good job, Mike and Sandra. Thanks.
Thank you.
This patio, which is going to be awesome, has got 2 walls of glass and 3 operable doors. So one out of Caffrey's bedroom, one this is slider right here behind me, and the third one's going into this opening. This wire right here, Charlie, tells me that we got something different going on with that door.
Yeah, this door is different than the rest of them. This one's motorized.
Motorized door. How are you?
This is Michael Roy, professional window and door installer.
Nice to meet you, Michael. So what are you putting in for us?
So we are putting in a multi-slide that'll open up from the middle, so there'll be 2 panels that open up to the patio
Cool.
on the outside.
And done by motor.
Done by motor, yes.
How do we
Push
do
of a
that?
button.
Push of a button. So the first thing we had to do is we had to prep the opening and put a motor in. So we have a motor prepped here inside the wall cavity that'll be covered by a panel.
cool.
And then that'll operate this door.
That is very cool. And obviously we're doing it for Caffrey, so it's nice and accessible. You can easily come and go inside and out.
That's right. So let me remind you of our goal here, to have really the 0 threshold from the inside wood floor to the bluestone outside.
So on the concrete, the bluestone goes down. Inside on the sheathing, you've got panels for radiant and then our finished floor.
That's right. And look at that.
Wow. Gonna roll right out, no problem at all.
Be perfect. Because our exterior and our interior is flush, we have to create a waterproof pan with a back dam. And the pan actually has a pitch built into it, which you can see right here. And on reverse, there are shims. That way when the sill goes on, it sits nice and level. And any water that might come into this sill, it will drip onto our waterproofing and pitch out to this notch, which also has a drainage mat that goes down to crushed stone.
Michael, where do we go from here?
Yeah, well, we have the frame built on the ground, so I'm gonna ask you two to give a hand and we're gonna lift it and put it in place.
Let's get to work.
Just gonna stand it up vertically.
Okay.
Okay, Sven, I'm gonna head inside with that. Okay,
So
just gonna lift the frame up onto the sill. Excellent. Let's push it back against the back dam.
There you go.
All right. Next step, we're gonna get this jam nice and plumb.
Tell me when you're ready.
We're good to go right there, Kevin. Excellent.
You got a shim behind there, which is nice.
Excellent. Now we're gonna come up to the top and do the same thing.
Tell me when.
How's that?
It is good to go right there. Excellent. All right, let's get the other side put in.
Tell me when.
Yes, you're good to go. Great. With a frame of this size, we run a string across the header, as we'll typically get a sag in it. So as you can see, a little bit of red string on this end and a little bit on this end, but you can't see it in the middle. So we're gonna run a screw up to get it even.
Okay. So that's level?
Yes, that's level. So we're gonna run the rest of the screws across the header and then we're gonna load the panels. You guys are gonna bring the panel over. Okay. Spin around. Yep, that's good right there. And when we're ready to lift, go ahead, lift, and slide it to the outside track. We're gonna slide it into the opening. Okay, come back a little bit. Now give it a good shove. Excellent. All right, let's go grab the other panel. 1, 2, 3, into that slot. There you go. Drop it onto that outside track. That's it. Yep. Excellent. Slide that in. Perfect.
Oh, nice.
All right. Now that all the panels are in, we're going to run the belt on the top to the motor, to the top of the panels, and make this operable.
I can't wait to see it.
So Michael, just a single belt all the way across the top?
Yes, single belt, and we've got it all fastened, so we're ready to give it a test run.
Hit it up, Sven. Let's see what we got. That's awesome.
That is smooth.
So Sven's got a keypad here.
Yeah, there'll be a keypad on the inside, there'll be a security keypad on the outside, and then there'll be an app that you can use on your phone for it.
Very cool. And I presume it's got some safety features? 'Cause
Yes.
It's mechanized?
Sure does. It has a safety feature right here. It'll have a sensor, so if anybody's coming in or out as the door's operating, it will not close on them.
Beautiful. And since it's got a motor, if the power goes out, or will it be locked in, or?
Power fails, the motor clicks off. You can open it manually to get in and out of the house.
Nice job.
All right.
Thank you, boys.
Nice.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Charlie, this is a first for me. Never seen one
It's
before.
pretty nice.
How about that, guys?
I want one of them.
Oh, perfect.
Or two. All right, so a lot of progress so far, but a lot more to do. What's on the list?
Well, we have the ramp in the front that connects the driveway to the front door, and we're ready to pour the concrete.
Very nice.
And I will get going on painting the exterior.
You better.
Tile begins in Caffrey's bathroom and also the other bathrooms and the laundry.
That's right.
Nice. And I heard there was a rumor that our therapy pool is on its way. So until then, I'm Kevin O'Connor
I'm Charlie Silva.
I'm Mauro Henrique.
I'm Richard Trethewey.
for This Old House here in Lexington, Massachusetts. All right, check this out. Ready?
What? No.
Come on.
You lost the touch. You lost the touch.
There we go.
Next time on This Old House.
Work on the job site is ramping up.
All right, let it go.
In the original house, there was this flooring called terrazzo, which when the house was demoed, we had to take it out.
We'll show you one of the ways that we're honoring this home's mid-century modern roots.
And look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's a 4,000-pound therapy pool. All right, that looks good.
That's next time